mga Casio Nation, and this is Engineer Jaydee. And today, so we're gonna teach you one of the first of the features of this Casio fx-991MS calculator, no? So, which is the basic calculations that we can do, no? So, over the next videos, no, from this video onwards, we will show you one by one the features of this fx-991MS calculator. So, if you haven't watched yung unboxing natin in the features, advantages, and limitations, you can watch your previous video. Okay? So, let's go, no? So, let's start. So, this right here, no, is the calculator. No? So, makikita din yan, no? It has the same basic features and keypads, no? As the 991ES and the Class Swiss, no, models. So, if you're coming from the 991ES or the Class Swiss models, no, so kung familiar na kayo doon, you can easily master this one, and you can easily become familiar with this one. Or if not, no, so you can if not hindi pa kayo familiar, no, so you can learn from this video, no? So, and also after this video you can experiment more on using this calculator, no. So I'll not delve deep into each of these keypads, no? But I'll highlight those important, no, na ginagamit natin sa, for example, sa engineering. So because I'm personally is a civil engineer, no? So I'll highlight those features, no, na importante para sa civil engineer. But those that are not civil engineers, like other engineers like math teachers or accountants, etc., no? So you can still learn from this one. So first is what we call, no, so we have to remember yung tinatawag na calculation priority sequence. It has a list of 13, no, 13 sets of operations, no, and it describes them according to yung tinatawag na precedence, or sino bang mauunang mag-operate, sino bang mauunang natin co-compute, sino yung next, sino yung after, sino yung last. So that's what we call yung precedence, no. So for example, the Casio calculator calculates first yung mga functions with parentheses, then yung mga exponents, then fractions, then implied multiplication, and so on and so forth. So for more info, no, so you can refer to the online manual na available sa Casio calculators, no. So I'll put it in the link, no. Yeah. So so let's try to apply this calculation priority sequence using some examples. So, for example, so we have this, kung alam nyo to, yung mga viral math problem na nag-appear sa math quiz groups, no? So, for example, this one, so yeah, so this one. So, 8 divided by 2 times 2 plus 2 or something like that, no? So, what is the value of this, no? So, pinagtatalunan niyan, no, sa math forums, no? Is it 1 or is it the value is 1 or is it 16? So, pinagtatalunan niyo doon, no? So, the purpose of the video, no, is not to argue what is the correct answer for this one, but to illustrate yung calculation priority sequence ni Casio. So, tignan natin, no? So, 8 divided by 2 times 2 plus 2. So, apparently, Casio, so this Casio calculator evaluates it to 1, no? So, why is it 1, no? So, babalik ulit tayo sa calculation priority sequence natin. So, according to the calculation priority sequence, no, it evaluates implied multiplication first. So, implied multiplication meaning you have a number, then followed immediately by a parenthesis. Now, this is considered an implied multiplication before the explicit division. So it's number 10 division, number 5 implied multiplication. So ibig sabihin, this right here is considered as one term by Casio, no? So it evaluates like this. So unahin natin yung sa loob ng parenthesis, 2, 4, implied multiplication x, 8 divided by 8, and then division yung last number. So that's why Casio evaluates it to 1. Yeah. So that's for the first example natin, no? So second example. So how do you evaluate this one? Yeah. So is it the value of 65,536 or is the value of 256? So of course some will argue that we should evaluate this first sa pinaka last, then this one, then this one, no? And some will argue na magsimula tayo sa left, punta sa right. Ganun yung mangyayari. So by the way, sa mga hindi nakakaalam ng simple na to, no? So this is a single line. So this is the single input display definition for exponent, no? So this one, is it 2 raised to 2 raised to 2 raised to 2? Or is it 2 squared, then squared, then squared? So, tingnan natin, no? So, paano ba kinakalculate ni Casio yan? So, 2, 2, 2, 2. So, 256. So, 200. So, this, so meaning, so kung calculate natin isa-isa to, no? So, this is 65,536 and this is 256. So, apparently, Casio, so this model calculates this way. So, it starts from left, okay? So, it starts from left papunta sa right. Yun yung because, kung babalik ulit tayo sa calculation priority sequence niya, no? So, powers is this one, okay? So, nasa rank 3 siya dito, no? And, sabi sa note niya, so when the priority of two expressions is the same, so the calculation is performed from left to right. Yan, so kailangan natin tandaan yan. So, meaning, because pare-parehas na exponents yan, no? So, Casio evaluates from the leftmost portion, so going to the right. So, that's why it evaluates this first, so which is 4. So, then we have squared right here. Ayan, so which is 16. And then we have squared right here, so 16 squared is 256. So what's the point of this? So, these are elementary exam. Pang-elementary to, engineer. Bakit nyo pinapakita sa akin to? So, the point of this, no, is not to argue about what is the answer of this question. What is the answer of this question? But, to illustrate that parenthesis, no, yung grouping symbols natin. Parenthesis is very important na pagdating sa single line display. No? So, if you are confused, no, so if you are inputting this one, of course you will be confused, no, as to what is the value of this. No? So, to be able to be sure, no, na yung expression you know will calculate as what you intend, kung ano yung gusto nyo mangyari, no, you have to input grouping symbols. That is why, for example here, so if you want, for this one, for example, so if you want, for example, this one, maging 16 yung sagot, no? So you have to place grouping symbols like it. So 8 divided by 2, okay, times 2 plus 2. And then it will show 16. Because naglagay na kayo ng grouping symbols, no? And the calculation works as you intend to do, no? Or, so that's the first option, no? You put grouping symbols, no? Or, if you know by heart, you memorize this one, you internalize this one, yung calculation priority sequence. So, you can do this one, and alam mo na agad kung ano yung magiging sagot mo sa calculator. So important, no? So, with longer computations, we need, of course, this calculator has space constraints, no? So, minsan kailangan natin magbawas ng inputs, no? So, by knowing this one, no? So, the calculation sequence, you will be assured na mababawasan din yung number of inputs ninyo. So, there's two options. First is to put grouping symbols, or second is to internalize yung priority sequence calculation. Okay? So, that's the first point natin. So, second point is yung calculation ng logarithms natin. So, you need to remember na sabi ko lang sa first video, no, that Casio fx-991MS doesn't have the log with the base function. No? So, for example, you cannot directly do, for example, logarithm base 3 of 27, for example. Yeah. So, you cannot do this, no, in this fx-991MS directly, no, like inputting log with the base with the number, and then you get the answer. No? So, sir, paano yung magiging workaround natin? So, paano yung magiging workaround natin dyan? So, kung matatandaan ninyo, yung tinatawag na change of base. change of base formula, no? So we have the change of base formula natin. So this one, we can write as, for example, logarithm of 27, tama, this one, divided by logarithm of 3. So this is what we call the change of base method. So instead of this something with base, no, we convert it into a common logarithm. So logarithm of 27 divided by logarithm of 3. And this right here is easily calculable dito sa fx-991MS natin because it has the logarithm function. Okay? So this one, so input natin, so logarithm of 27. So this right here is the key for the logarithm, no? So log meaning logarithm base 10. Yun yung ibig sabihin niya. So log of 27 divided by log of 3. Yan. So equals 3. So this right here is equals 3. So another way, no, of using the change of base is instead of logarithm base 10, so we can use the natural logarithm. So called the ln. So ln 27 divided by ln of 3. So this right here is also calculable, no, because it has the ln function. Okay? So again, so ln, so we use the ln function right here. So ln meaning logarithm base e. So base e. So ln 27 divided by ln of 3. So is equals, again, equals right here. So you see the answer is the same. So and it's also equal to the original one. So if you don't have, if this calculator, so itong calculator na to, wala siya ng log base function natin. So you can work around using the change of base formula. So that's for our second point. The next features natin, so I will show you it with an example, no? So example number 1. So we have, for example, a cyclogram. Okay. So meron tayo dyan cannonball. Yan. Then it fires a cannon. Okay. So of course, fires a cannon. No? So it has a certain direction and a certain speed, no? In which if fire natin yung cannonball. For example, we use 36 degrees, no, from the horizontal, and we have a speed of 25 meters per second. So as we all know, no, from the principles of dynamics, so if we neglect yung air resistance, no, yung pagpigil ng hangin natin, so the trajectory or yung magiging motion ng cannonball natin looks like this one. So this is the curve or the motion curve of the projectile. So ito yung magiging trajectory niya. Yan. So we can describe it, no? So yung mga parameters natin dyan, no? So for example, this right here, so kung saan siya bumagsak, babagsak siya dito, no? Yan. So there will be an explosion. So from the original point papunta dito, no? So we denote this by the variable r or the maximum horizontal distance, no? So to which it will travel. So yung this height punta dito sa maximum. So this is the highest point, no, in which na-travel nung cannonball. So this is denoted by h. So which is the maximum height, no, reached by the cannonball, no? And the time t, no, so we have the time t, the total, no, meaning from this point papunta dito, so nag-travel siya ng magagano katagal. So yun yung tinatawag natin na total time of flight or T total. So if you remember yung mga formulas natin, so there are formulas for finding R, for finding H, and for finding the total time of flight natin. So sulat natin, so the maximum height, no, so if you remember, is V squared sine squared theta over 2G, no, where V is the speed, no, which is 25. Theta is the angle from the horizontal kung saan you fire yung projectile. So okay, 36. And 2g, where g is the acceleration of free fall, in meters per square second. So usually it's 9.81. Okay, so that's for h. The next, So we have the r, so which is the maximum horizontal distance. So it's equal to v squared sine 2 theta over g. So that's how we calculate it, no? And last, the total time of flight, no? So t total is 2v sine theta over g. So these are the formulas that we need, no? So we now calculate, no? So given tayo ng v, given tayo ng theta, and g, given tayo niyan, of course. This is a constant. So we can now calculate these three parameters. So how do we calculate? So first, let's calculate h. No? So the best way to do this one, no, is papansinin nyo, it has the same variables na v, theta, and g. No? V and theta in particular. No? So since paulit-ulit lang siya dito sa formula, no, we can use yung tinatawag na calculator variables, no, to store these values and apply them immediately, apply it repeatedly as many times as we can. No? For example, I'll store yung v. No? So v is 25 meters per second. I'll store it to variable a, for example, and theta is 36 degrees. I'll store it to variable b, for example. So store natin yan. So type the number 25, okay, and then shift RCL or store, and then so makita nyo meron ditong pulang variable dito. So a, b, c, d, e, f, x, y, and m. So basically there are 9 variables here. You can store it in any letter you want. So for example sa a, so pindutin natin to. So it stores a. So it stores 25 to the variable a. Okay? So another one, so 36 degrees. No? So 36 shift store. So this one is variable b. This key right here, 36. Yan. So now, na-store na natin siya. So we can now calculate first this one. So we have, so again, tandaan nyo sa first point natin, para makuha nyo yung intended na calculation, you need to use grouping symbols or parentheses. So let's put right here, so parentheses, v squared. So v is stored at a, so squared, okay, times, again, parentheses, no? So we're being very careful here, no? Para tama yung sagot natin. Sine 36, no? It's, na-store natin yan sa b, so sine b squared, okay? So divided by, parentheses ulit, 2 times g. So what is g? So we can use yung tinatawag na constant natin, constant key. So this is the constant key, no? We can press the constant, and then it will ask you kung anong constant number yung gagamitin natin. Now, kung hindi nyo tanda to, no, yung constant number natin, you can use the back of the calculator. So this is the cover, no, and in this cover, you will see ito, scientific constants natin, the list of the scientific constants, and the list of the conversion factors natin. Okay? So for g, so which is the acceleration of free fall, so makikita natin sa scientific constants, it is the number 35. Yan. So this is the number 35. So let's press 35. So you'll see, meron na siyang g dito, no? So again, let's close natin, and then press. So we have here the value of h equals to 11.01 or 009 something. So that's for the maximum height reached by the cannon ball h. Next, for the total time of flight, so t total, no? So we use 2v sin theta over g. So you can pause the video, no? So para ma-apply niyo yung principle natin ng una. So to be able to input this into our calculator and then get the answer. So you can pause, try it in your calculator, and see if you can get the same answer as mine. Okay? So I'll input it now. So 2 times v, so which is at the variable a, times sine theta, so sine of b, no? So divided by g, so constant 35, so 29 29.9687 seconds. Correct answer. Yeah, next. So finally, let's get the range or the maximum horizontal distance. So we have, again, you can pause it at this point, no? So and then try to input this in the calculator and then get the answer, no? So V, so A squared times sine. So at this point, because it is 2 theta, no? The argument here is 2 theta, no? So it is suggested na maglagay kayo ng parenthesis dun sa loob, no? Sine of 2 times E, okay? So it's suggested na maglagay kayo ng grouping symbols, okay? Divided by the variable G, 35, equals 60.6130 meters. These are our final answers right here. Yeah. So if you have gotten these 3 answers correctly, then congratulations, and you have achieved your first step in mastering this calculator. Okay. Now, makikita nyo, in-input natin isa-isa doon, no? So over the course of these 3 lines, we have input 3 equations. Press the equal sign, then delete ulit, then input ulit, then delete ulit. So on and so forth. Now, this can be reduced further into a single line calculation. So kumbaga, you only need to input this, input 1 line of calculation and then kuha niya na lahat ng tatlo. Pwede ba yun? Pwede ba yung ganun calculation? So the answer is yes. You can do it in single line natin. So, using yung tinatawag na colon operator natin. So let's input, no, the first equation, this first expression. So b squared, so a squared, sine, so let's put parentheses, so sine a squared divided by 2 times constant of 5. Okay, now we input this first expression. Now let's put the colon operator. So let's press alpha here, and then this key, yung integral, no? So makita nyo sa taas, we have the colon operator, nakapula siya. So let's press the integral. So lalabas yung colon operator natin. Then let's input the second one. So 2, so a sine b, okay, divided by constant 5. So again, colon operator, so alpha, yes. Okay, then third operator, so b squared, so a squared sine 2b constant 35. Okay, then press equals. So kita nyo ito. So this is the first expression, no? So getting the maximum height, no? And then you can press the down or up keys, no, to see the other expressions. So press down. Actually, press equals pala, no? So press equals. So you see the second one. Okay, so this is the second expression for the total time of flight. And then press equals again. So 60 point something meters. So mahaba man yung input natin, no? It's just a single line, no? And in just one single line, we can get 3 answers immediately. So if you have yung mga calculator technique books natin, yung mga calculator technique books, no? So they actually abuse, no, yung operator na to because it's easy to use. It's more easy na easier na mag-input ka ng isang beses kaysa mag-input ng 3. Ganun, di ba? So if you want to use this, syempre, if sanay ka na dito, then you can use this. If not, so you can input one at a time. So saan ka mas comfortable. So there's nothing to stop you naman kung alin yung pipiliin. Okay? So that's for the first example natin. Oh, now, to illustrate the next feature natin dito, next basic feature, no? So we'll have a second example natin. Okay. So, second example. So suppose, no? So we have suppose we have 2 persons, no? So So we have Wesley right here, no? And we have Hikaru. Yan. And naglalaban sila, no? So, example, 7 matches, no? So 7 matches, no? So 7 matches, no? So naglalaban sila for the 7 matches, no? Kung sino yung mananalo sa kanila, no? So the player with the most number of wins the game, wins the entire match natin. Okay? So now Wesley, based on the ratings, no? So Wesley has around 40% chance of winning against Hikaru. So 40%. So therefore Hikaru has 60% chance of winning the entire match. Every game natin. So 40% to win every game, 60% to win every game. So the question being, so what is the probability that Wesley will win the entire match? So now how do we solve this one? So to solve this one, so we need to remember, so we need to understand muna kung ano yung magiging problem. Before we input this to the calculator, we need to understand what the problem is, and what we need to solve. Okay? So we have Wesley, so W, Hikaru, H. Yan. So win rate niya given dito per game. Now Wesley, sabi dito, we need, so kailangan yung probability na mananalo si Wesley. So meaning, dapat Wesley has more wins than Hikaru. So to be able to win the entire match. So for example, Wesley, so about 4 wins siya, then Hikaru has 3 wins. Yan, for example. So this is considered a win of Wesley, because 4 is greater than 3. So 4 matches greater than 3. So another one is 5 and 2. So again, it is considered a win for Wesley because 5 is greater than 2, no? So 6, 1. So again, win Wesley. 7, 0. Again, win Wesley. Now, what is the probability na mananalo si Wesley dito, no? So sabi sa problem, it's 40%, 0.4. So for Hikaru is 60%, 0.6. So let's put it down now. So 4. So we have 4 wins, and so for Wesley, may 4 wins siya, and the probability of winning is 0.4. Okay, 0.4. Okay, so for Hikaru, so we have 3 wins of 0.6. Yeah. So and so on and so forth natin. So dito na papasok yung tinatawag na binomial distribution natin. So patatandaan niyo yan, no? So, binomial distribution, no? So it describes the probability of event, no, that can have 2 outcomes, no. So it's either it is successful or it is not, or it is effective or it is effective. Is it winning or it is losing, no? So binomial distribution, no, calculates the probability. So and the general formula for it, kung matatandaan ninyo, is NCK, so P K, Q, N minus K. Kung matatandaan nyo, this is the probability, no? So this expression right here is the probability of getting K, no? So getting K successes, no, out of N trials natin. So NCK is the combination. So it is the combination of N taken K at a time. No? So it is the number of ways to select K objects or select K objects from N objects, no? Where order is not important. Okay, P is the probability of success, no? So it's the probability of happening a single time, and Q is the probability of failure, no? Which is equivalent to 1 minus P. Okay, so now, paano natin ipapasok yung binomial distribution ito, no? So first, so for Wesley, so sulat na natin sa calculator, no? So for Wesley, no, so he wins 4 matches, no, with the probability of 0.4. So we have N, so we have 7 matches in. So shift to be able to use the combination symbol, no. So shift divided by, so we have the C symbol right here, and then 4. Ayan, 4. So 4 matches times yung probability of success niya. So which is 0.4 then raised to 4. Tama? So 0.4 raised to 4, and then for Hikaru, so that's 0.6 with 3 matches. Tama? So that's just for this line muna. No? So this is the binomial probability for Wesley to have 4 wins. Okay? So next is to consider 5 wins, no? Because these are mutually exclusive and they can occur separately, no? So this is additive in nature. Tama? So 7. So again, shift C, 5 times 0.4, so this is the probability. So 5 matches, 0.6 squared. Oops, mali. 0.6 squared. Yan. So plus, so 6 matches, so 7 C6 times, so 0.4 raised to 6 plus times 0.6 raised to 1. Kahit para mapaiksi nyo yung line na to, you can delete yung raised to 1. No? So, kaya na bahala. So, plus 7 C7 times 0.4 raised to 7, 0.6 raised to 0. So, you can delete yung 0.6 raised to 0, this just equal to 1. No? Kaya na rin bahala. No? So, this is the entire line of reasoning. The entire line of calculation natin. So, you can press left and right keys, no, to be able to recall yung in-input niyo and check, double check if you can, kung meron kang makikitang maling input, no, you can revise it here. Yeah. Yeah. So there. Then press equals natin. So we get 0.2897. So sinasabi pala ng problem na to, no, that if Wesley is to fight Hikaru, no, in a match of in a match of 7 games, no, to be able to win the entire match, he has a 28.98% chance to be able to win, no. So yun yung sinasabi ng problem na to, and this illustrates ito, specifically this one, the combination symbol natin. Yeah. So there are actually other functions related to combinations. So we have the permutation symbol, no, so which is shift times, so this is P, no, so which illustrates, no, yung number of ways to arrange n objects in K where order is important, so that's P. And we also have the factorial notation, so shift x inverse, so we have the factorial notation here, no, so which illustrates the number of ways to arrange n objects taken all, so taken ended, so factorial notation. So that's it, no, for presenting the basic features. So if you have any questions for this, no, you can post it in the comments. You can message us, no? You can PM us, no, so that we can answer right away. Yeah. So that's for illustrating yung first yung mga basic calculation features of this model of fx-991MS. So if you have any questions or clarifications, you can post it on the comments page, and you can also PM us or directly message us, so that we can answer right away. So in the next video, please look forward to our next video wherein we will show you. So I will show you how to solve equations and systems of equations using the fx-991MS model. So this is again Engineer Jaydee, and I'm looking forward for the next video. So see you.